Honorable Minister of Health Yaakov Litzman, Vice President Raanan Rein, distinguished guest speakers from abroad in Israel, and dear guests. My name is Ohad. I'm the head of the Manna Center here in Tel Aviv University for Food Safety and Security. And on behalf of the organizers, the Manna Center here in Tel Aviv University, the Israeli Forum of Sustainable Nutrition, and New York University, I welcome you all to the Sustainable Food Systems in Agriculture, Environment, and Nutrition Conference. Before we continue, I just want to remind you all, like I'll do, to please silence your cell phones. Thank you. In the next couple of days, we're going to learn and discuss a wide range of key issues related to sustainable food systems, presented by world-leading experts, policymakers, industry leaders, and activists in the global and local food movement. I wish us all a fruitful conference which will help us all to reach domestically and globally food security, employing sustainable food systems. I would like now to invite Vice President Raanan Rein to greet us. Please, Raanan.
Thank you, Nir. Shalom. Good morning, Minister of Health Yaakov Litzman, Professor Mario Nestel from New York University, Dov Chernikovsky, the head of the National Council for Food Security, Israel Prize Laureate, Professor Johnny Gressel, guests from abroad and from different places here in Israel. I take great pleasure in welcoming you all to this conference on sustainable food systems. As a historian, I think it is clear that every great event in human history can be linked in one way or another to food availability. From the cultivation of wheat here in the Middle East 10,000 years ago and the beginning of modern civilization to the manna that the Jews got in the deserts, from Columbus's search for a route to the east, to the French Revolution and the infamous let them eat cake, and up to the modern so-called Arab Spring, food availability is clearly a driving force in history. As a historian, believe it or not, I also like numbers. Population modelers tell us that by 2050, over 9 billion people are projected to be living on our planet. How are we going to feed such a huge population? That is more than 3 times the number of people that we had here when Tel Aviv University was founded. Even today, 2 billion people in the world suffer from undernutrition, and 800 million people still go to sleep hungry. While most, if not all of us here in this hall have the economic privilege to never have felt a hunger, these numbers require us to pause and think, what can we all do in order to ensure that each and every one of our children, and indeed children all over the world, will have access to adequate and nutritious food for a fulfilling life? And how can we do this in a way that is ecologically sustainable? While we have made great strides in increasing the world's food supply over the past several decades, this has often come with an environmental cost, which will not be sustainable for the long run. And along this vein, holding this conference in conjunction with the annual conference of Israel Ecology Society is a great message. Let me give you a few brief facts. Most of you are well aware of them, but still I think that they are very relevant to this conference. Undernutrition causes 45% of child death, resulting in more than 3 million deaths annually. Some organizations use the slogan, every 10 seconds we lose a child due to hunger. This is in order to visualize this incredible number. And irreversible damage is caused to a child with malnutrition in his or her first 3 years. They will remain disabled for life. There's a big difference in consumption in the rich world, 10 to 20 times more than in the poor one. Calories are overconsumed in North America, for example, and underconsumed in Africa. And obviously, the amount of agricultural land per person is decreasing, simultaneously with the increasing of population, but also due to other reasons, such as climate change. So we will surely have less areas for food production in the so-called third world, Africa, Asia, and in places like Australia. If we do not solve the problem of hunger, the world can never be stable. It will generate huge competition for land and for water. Recent political disruptions in the neighboring country of Syria, for example, were at least in part due to a lack of food. So what should we do? There are various ways in which we could confront this enormous challenge. Produce more food in a sustainable way. Simple intensification of agriculture has serious effects on the environment ecosystem. We have to reduce the amount of resources needed to produce food. Less water, less agricultural land, less chemicals. Global thinking is also needed. Places where more food can be produced need to compensate for others that produce less. Local work should be done as well. We should learn from local communities all over the world, how they operate, and analyze it in order to identify major resources for progress in this area. We should definitely reduce waste, and we should create a safety net in order to save and in order to deal with future catastrophes. Long-term solutions for the pressing problems of hunger and bad nutrition require interdisciplinary approach and international cooperation. There's a large set of issues here that require joint multidisciplinary work between plant genetics and public policy, nutrition, law, chemistry, management, and yes, even history. Here at Tel Aviv University, we are fortunate to have on the same campus all these disciplines, all the relevant faculties and schools. And in this way, a constant dialogue is possible among different disciplines. For example, where a virologist studying a disease in tilapia fish farms in Africa can have lunch or a cup of coffee with an expert in international development. Over the past several years, Tel Aviv University has made a major commitment to promoting an agenda for food security. To harness this potential, we founded 3 years ago the Manna program for food security and safety, with the aim of bringing together researchers from diverse academic disciplines in order to promote innovative basic and applied research, to forge ties with professionals and academics around the world, and to prepare the next generation of scientists and policymakers to guide global food security issues. In this effort, we are engaging partners not only here in Israel, such as our newly forged collaboration with the Volcani Institute, but also with key universities around the world. We already mentioned NYU here, as well as with institutions in Africa and Asia. And at the recent meeting of the Board of Governors of Tel Aviv University, Dr. Sergeant Kelem from Ethiopia was awarded an honorary doctorate for her role in leading Africa to a food-secure future. I'm very pleased that the Manna program for food security and safety could work together with the Israeli Forum for Sustainable Nutrition and New York University in order to put together this very important gathering. I would like to thank all the organizers, all the visionaries behind this conference, and I hope that the sessions over the next 2 days will bring us another step forward to a food-secure world. For all of us to have a major impact, we need commitment and leadership. Minister Litzman, who is present here, by your recent statements and actions, you have done more to prepare Israel for a food-secure future than most of us could have imagined. So I would like to thank you for your recent initiatives. Thank you very much. And I wish you a productive conference.